Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here, Wednesday the 6th of March. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Don't forget we're kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. It's by you coming back and using the site and using the adverts, that's what keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that. Of course you can follow us on Twitter as well at Weather School, or do a search on Facebook for Weather School. Right, okay, we're pre-gym again today. You see how lucky you are? You get to see all of my gym gear. You're just lucky, folks. And because it's pre-gym and not post-gym, not a bit of sweat in sight. Anyway, moving on rapidly. A bit of good news from the CFS model yesterday. I did muse about this, and you'll have seen this on the website. But this is the CFS output for 26th of March to the 1st of April. And so this is the final week of March, and it's the 500 millibar anomalies. And what it's doing is building a big ridge across Scandinavia, big Scandinavian high, putting low pressure down across where's that? Spain, Portugal, of course, across Spain and Portugal, and bringing in a southeasterly flow through the country, which would bring dry conditions, and it'll bring warmer conditions too, which is exactly what I've been hinting at for the end of March. So I was quite relieved at that, because all the indications are that things may well be panning out as I expected them to do. Okay, so let's take a look at the 5 to 10 day mean of the 500 millibar flow, and this is from the PSU EWAL site. It takes us through from next Wednesday through to Saturday the 16th, and on the left hand side here we've got the ECMWF model, on the right hand side here we've got the GFS, and you notice how both models are very similar, really, building a ridge through the western and central states here. But then look at this feature here, this banana boat feature that stretches right from the Atlantic cross pole into the Pacific. This is a huge block of high pressure that's preventing systems getting in from the west, as they normally would do, through northern parts of Europe. It's that's blocking things out. So it's seeing the block in there, and what it does is the block drives air north and then brings this cold air down straight through the British Isles. And if you look and follow that height line back here, the winds basically flow with those height lines. So what you can see here is that we're picking up the flow off northwest China, off western China, and then it comes across the pole straight through the UK and into Europe. Hence the reason why it's so cold and why it is so unsettled across much of eastern parts of Europe. Now, what this poses is you can kind of see how this develops, or at least I can see a kind of solution through this, because with this deep trough off the eastern coast of the States, they're getting pounded by winter again there. Chicago had some really heavy snow. Go to the website, have a look at the musing for that. I think what's going to happen here is we've got this jet that's sort of cutting across the Atlantic, which is already doing, into southern parts of Spain. Now, what I think will happen is that this ridge will edge westwards for a time, so I think the ridge will come back over here. I have a suspicion that the jet may be able to get a little bit further north across the British Isles, perhaps bringing some more unsettled conditions pre-20th of March. But then I think what will happen is the jet will just get nudged back southwards again. It'll take up this position again through southern parts of Spain, and that's when we get to this position here, where we get these lower than normal heights across the southern parts of Spain at the end of the month. I think the ridge then will try and come back eastwards. The block comes back eastwards, and eventually what we find is that this whole feature kind of swings around here. The high builds across Scandinavia, and it's then that we get into the possibility of some milder southeasterly winds, semi-mild southeasterly winds coming through the country, and that dry weather at the end of the month. So the models, basically what I'm trying to tell you here is that the models are stacking up along the lines that we'd expect them to for the forecast for the end of the month. But of course we got cold weather to get out of the way first of all, and it's not just cold, there could be some snow around during the early part of next week's too. The real threat comes in on Sunday and into Monday, and this is the chart for 6 o'clock on Tuesday morning. It's snow cover charts across Europe. You see most of it obviously Scandinavia, across central western Russia here, but what's interesting is that we've now got snow extended westwards, look, through Poland, through Germany, trying to get onto the into the Low Countries, through much of Central Europe there, but also an area of snow predicted across northern parts of France, and then these bits and pieces down through the British Isles. So it's seeing this snow accumulation coming back in, and you know, we're now getting into the middle part of March. This will be the 12th of March, so pretty unusual conditions to see snow on the ground then. Not unusual to get snow in March, obviously, but just quite unusual that it comes back as a hit, and it's the way it comes in. Usually March, as snow comes from a northwesterly, we get a snow shower go through, it deposits snow, it clears out the way, you know, and then we go back to sunshine. But this is coming on an Easter. This is more of a winter pattern. And what's interesting is that the cold that's coming in, how the model sees it, and how sure it is, how sure they are, the models, that this cold air comes in. This is the time series from the GFS Ensemble. We've got the dates across the bottom here, running from the 7th of March through to the 21st of March here. This is from weatheronline.co.uk, by the way. And this is for Manchester. So this is the 9th here, Saturday. You notice that these 8:50 temperatures kind of hover around before taking this plunge down on Saturday, and then slowly picking up towards the middle of next week, but then staying generally flatline. But what I wanted to show you here is this is the ensemble model, and an ensemble runs by starting off a model at several different points, and then as you run the model forward, those points kind of widen. Okay, and what you do then is you take a mean of each of the model runs, and normally you get quite a wide spread through the model. However, it's these blues and green bars here that show us what the spread is. Now normally the spread is something like that, and then it gets wider apart like that, and then it gets further apart like that. But what's interesting here is to see how close together these bars are, which is what's building the confidence in the forecast of the cold weather next week. And just looking at the 850s again, I just want to show you the cold air draining in. This is the chart from 6 o'clock this morning. Let's just run through these, and you'll just notice here that as we go through the charts, this is tomorrow, so this is Thursday, there's Friday, then we get on to Saturday. Now watch what happens through Saturday. Look, in it comes, here it is, coming in from the northeast, and then bang, in it goes through Sunday, through Monday. This is minus 13 degrees at 5,000 feet in the atmosphere. This is really cold stuff. Add on the easterly wind, it's going to be feeling bitterly cold, snow flurry across the east and the south. And that cold air kind of hangs around until, bizarrely enough, a more northerly flow comes in and kicks it out of the way, actually introduces warmer air. And then we see that warmer air coming in through next week and into next weekend as the ridge builds in from the west. Although you notice still we've got -5s at 8:50 running down these eastern coasts of the country, even through to next Saturday, and then the milder air tries to come back in from the west. So it's quite a cold hit, particularly I think for Sunday, Monday. You're really going to feel it. Tuesday it's cold, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we're starting to pick up, although still on the chilly side. Again, just to reiterate, that's the chart from the ensemble of surface temperatures for London. And you see this fall off here, this sharp fall off here around Sunday, Monday into the early part of Tuesday, and then the slow pickup of temperatures after that. But what of the detail? Well, this is how things are going to be shaping up during the next 15 days. Actually, I'll give you this first of all. This is the ensemble predicted rainfall in 5-day chunks. I know that many of you watching this, farmers and growers, and really interested in where this rainfall goes. So this is the 5-day predictions of rainfall, again from the ensemble model, and this is the next 5 days, taking us up to midnight on the 11th, which is midnight on Monday. And you can see most rainfall predicted to be across more southern parts of the country. Could be up to an inch of rain in the next 5 days. I think that's probably overdone a little bit. I don't think it's going to be that much. It's going to be around about the 15 mil mark, although it could be. I suppose we could get an inch here across southern parts of Ireland. Then day 6 to 10, much less rainfall. Look, as the high comes in, builds out towards the west, we get a northerly flow. Some showers running down the eastern coast, but for many we're seeing rainfall totals much lower. And then in the final part of the period, day 11 to 15, seeing a rainfall totals not bad, sort of 5 to 10 millimeters possible. I think this may be overdone as well. I don't think there's going to be that much during that period, or at least if there is, it's the early part of the period, not in the latter. So detail for the next few days then. Here's the chart for midday today. You see we're starting to pick up this southeasterly flow. Here's the rainfall that's kind of been affecting many parts of the west and north of the country today. Really not that much of it around, and it looks as if that southeasterly flow just stays with us through the course of tonight. Now tomorrow's a very similar day, still outbreaks of rain around. Most of them look affecting parts of the Midlands, northern England and southern parts of Scotland. Most of it light, but some moderate bursts coming through. And this is one of the problems, is that if you've got a job that needs doing and it needs to stay dry. I think that rain is just going to be on the edge of just being too much to be getting things done. Dry weather does try to get into the south for a time as we head into Friday, and then during Friday, possibility of some more persistent rain just coming onto the southern coast. Another area of rain across northern England, southern parts of Scotland, and just feeling cold there too, with that easterly wind starting to really pick up. And then through the latter part of Friday into the weekend, we get rain affecting East Anglia and the southeast. That eventually will be clearing away off towards the east, and then we really pick up these cold easterly winds across northern parts of England and Scotland through Saturday. You notice there as well just outbreaks of rain coming through across these eastern coasts. And then into Sunday, cold air really sets in. The winds go more into the north and northeast. All this area of precipitation here that's coming on to central and eastern parts of the country is really going to be falling as sleet and snow, increasingly snow as the temperature falls out, and I think we could find an accumulation in places. Then as we head in towards Monday, got that northeasterly flow still there. Look, I think it brings further snow showers down these eastern coasts, and what we'll find is they'll be aligned through the Midlands. So I think through the Midlands heading down to the southwest there, we just find snow showers odd and off through the course of the day. But we are starting to see slightly warmer air coming into the north, so I think up here for Scotland, snow showers towards the east probably tending to turn to sleet. But out towards the west, and throughout this period towards the west, while we've got this northeasterly flow, west is going to be best. There'll be some good sunny spells, even though it is going to be feeling quite cold. Then it's Tuesday next week, maybe the risk of some more persistent sleet, rain, possibly wet snow coming down these eastern coasts across East Anglia and the southeast, but many western areas tending to stay better. And then as we get through further beyond that, I think the high pressure that's out towards the east here will slowly be building its way eastwards, and I think it then leads us into as that high builds its way east and collapses away, we could be looking at going slightly more unsettled. But big question mark on what happens between the 13th and the 17th. In that period there is a big question mark over how the weather develops through that period. I'll bring you more on that during the course of tomorrow, but I think really what we've got to stick with is the cold theme on a northerly flow. So I'll leave you with that for now, because I know I've been rabbiting on quite a bit, but thanks again for watching. As always, WeatherWeb is kept free of charge by you coming back and using the site, using the adverts, following us on Twitter, following us on Facebook as well, and telling your friends about us, so thank you for doing that. But for now, thanks for watching, and keep the sun shining. Have a great day, and bye for now.